We're just going to introduce you to the whole concepts of agentic AI, show you what the main tools are that you can use. There's many options being generated pretty much all the time. And give you a little demonstration of a simple system that I've set up to show you how agentic AI systems work. I like this video because it really sums up what agentic AI pretty much is. If you look at these guys, they have an overall goal. They have a task, a bigger overall set of tasks that they have to achieve. And in order to do it, these guys, let's think of them like agents, they're using tools, they're using their knowledge, they're using their capabilities to actually achieve the overarching goal. But each one of them will have their own individual little tasks that they have to achieve first before the overall overarching task can be completed. And that's a direct kind of analog, if you like, to what agentic AI is all about. Okay, so let's just jump straight into it. So agentic AI has got a lot of claims, a lot of big claims, and you can read what those claims are on this screen. Gartner are saying things like AI will autonomously resolve 80% of all customer service issues without human intervention by 2029. That's a pretty massive claim. And as you skim through that list of claims, they're pretty big. And this is one of the things that we're trying to understand deeply now. Are these claims really valid? Can they actually be achieved? And that is being borne out in the industry so far. So there's a lot of people playing with agentic AI-based systems. Just to show you a little bit of history here. So the yellow line here is RAG, or Retrieval Augmented Generation. The blue line here is agentic AI, right? So agentic AI definitely started after RAG. And generative AI is just this overarching kind of set of trends which have been going on for quite some time. But agentic AI is what this session is all about. And that really didn't start until January 25. So we've not had a long time to play with agentic AI. We're still learning it. We're still trying to work with it and understand its foibles. But we have already got some agentic AI use cases in play, just as we had with RAG, right? So RAG, we set up our first RAG demonstrators way back in September 23 using large language models back then. And then this RAG here is where Google put it onto google.com. So it might seem as if RAG has always been around. These AI overviews have been around for quite some time, but they haven't. And agentic AI hasn't been around for very long either, literally just at the start of the year. So there's a lot of hype. There's a lot of growing hype, a lot of growing capabilities here. But there's also a kind of an opposite and equal reaction taking place as well. So Gartner, as well as all of those hype statements that they made on that previous slide, they're also predicting that AI agents, and this is what they're calling agentic AI, is actually going to start to drop into the trough of disillusionment. Generative AI is already dropping into the trough of disillusionment. And it's going to take a little bit of time for these kinds of technologies to pop back out in real world scenarios. But let's see the positives in this, and let's see where we can go. But this is just real world of where we are right now. And of course, we've been in the space, collectively as a group of individuals, not just Pureinsights, but everybody on this call really have been monitoring what's going on within the generative AI space. And there are some confusing terminologies. There's generative AI, which I think we've all got a good handle on right now. And then there's this concept of AI agents, and then there's agentic AI. And there's still some confusion about, is an AI agent the same as agentic AI or not? And it can be kind of summarized by this slide, really. If you look at generative AI, I'm not going to drain this slide by any means, but if you look at what it does, it can be used by agents, which are more of the kind of user interfacey style things like chatbots and smart thermostats and Siri and things like that. It can be used by those technologies, but those technologies don't plan. Right, they don't interact with a whole bunch of other different AI agents in order for them to work, and that's what agentic AI is. So agentic AI tries to pull all of these agents together in a cohesive way, interact with data in a cohesive way, and to plan its operation so that it can answer the task or perform the task. And RAG, of course, retrieval augmented generation, is one of those kinds of capabilities. And we'll show you an example a little bit later where we're using RAG, but we'll also show you a different example where we're using integrations with knowledge graphs and various things to detect fraud when people sign up with the bank. So we'll come across that in just a second. This is kind of the summary, if you like, of what agentic AI is all about. It's creating these autonomous systems capable of making decisions and performing tasks without a human, uh, in the loop. That's a bit scary, but when you're building these systems, you can put all of these checks and balances in place, so it won't do anything super stupid. But it is something that you do need to think about. Okay, so this is not something that you can just install the agentic AI system and say go. You do have to put checks and balances and kind of tell it what the tools are, tell it what the tasks are, tell it what the agents are responsible for. And when you do that, then you can end up with a pretty useful tool behind the scenes. So just some terminology. This is one of the agentic AI frameworks uses terminology like crews. So crew is just a collection, essentially, of agents. And there can be as many agents as you want. You can have one agent that tries to do everything, or you can have multiple agents which are specifically tuned to each of their job functions. And the crews are orchestrated in order to make sure that if an agent depends on the outputs of another agent, then it waits for that agent to get its job done. And it tries to parallelize as much as possible out of the box. And it really controls the flow of all of those things. Now, agents get given tasks. So in this particular scenario, it might be that you want an agent to fit the toilet, or you want another agent to do some painting, or another agent to flatten some concrete, which has just been poured. And of course, they need tools. So tools are used by agents to perform the tasks. They all get pulled together as a crew. Okay. There's a couple of other things that these agentic AI frameworks put together, and that is a memory, so that the system knows, number one, where it's got to in its overall task, but also if agents need to communicate with each other, like agent one needs to generate an output by looking in a certain research bucket, and then that generated output then gets read by another agent in order for it to work, then that all happens in this agentic memory, as they call it. And all of those crews can be coordinated to flow together, right? So crew one comes out on site, crew two then goes out on site and does their specific jobs, and crew three then goes out on site and does their specific jobs. So all of these things can be pulled together using these crews. Um, so we talked about terminology there, but there are frameworks as well. Okay, and this is just one from October the 6th. It's just literally just a couple of days ago. OpenAI announced a modified or an updated version of their agent kit. And this is changing just like LLMs, just like search engines, vector search engines to some degree. It's changing almost every day under our feet. And we're constantly monitoring what's going on in the industry. But what we are seeing, at least, is that there are a number of frameworks out there. This is just a Google Trends chart for those frameworks. And I've just picked the top N frameworks here, top 5 or 6, I think. And these are the framework names. These are the people who kind of run with the framework. Most of them, as you can see, are open source. But some of them are owned by OpenAI or Microsoft or Meta, the Llama Index people. And you can see each of them has its own popularity that's out there right now. And pretty much by a long shot, I would say N8N, this blue line, has just had a huge growth spurt since the beginning of the year. You might have heard of products like LangGraph or others. They are there, but they are still somewhat below this N8N solution that we are going to be talking a little bit about today. Um, Agentic AI is on the chart for reference, and Elasticsearch is on the chart for reference, as is Gen AI. So you can see that these things are consistent, but these things are pretty much brand new into the market itself. And there's another lens that we can look at these agentic AI systems through, and that is through whether they are easy or difficult to use, and also whether they are visual or code-based. Okay, so an easy tool would be something like N8N, and N8N is also visual. Okay, whereas some of these other tools, like Autogen from Microsoft, is predominantly code-based, and it's relatively difficult to use. Okay, so showing you this kind of tool today, I don't think would be very interesting, but showing you this tool today, I think is quite interesting, because it's something that we can show how we build these agentic systems together and how we put them into production from there. Okay, so we're going to be demoing a little bit around the agentic